Hi everyone. I just thought I would pop in since I'm playing in my software and I was remembering a few things I wanted to point out since I'm doing a different after hours tonight. It's a broadcast from my website. We were talking, people are posting about the motifs that they're using and sometimes you have a hard time connecting them. You draw a closed shape like a square or diamond shape or fleur-de-lis, or you have some sort of shape and you're trying to put a motif around it and it's not closing and you're like, how do I make that happen? Or you're using French knots and you drew a circle and you put your French knots in and they're not closing. So I thought I'd pop in and show you a couple of the tips and tricks that I would do or that I've done to make it work. So let's go into the software, and just remember this is recorded so you can watch it later. I'm going to put it in the units. So here we go. I'm going to pop into the software, and these are kind of sort of the examples I'm talking about. A shape here that has a rounded top or a string of beads. Now, if you notice, in my object pane here, I have this design actually is made up of two pieces. And that's because if I went into my software here and clicked on new design page, if I drew this, I'm going to use the control key and let's just go do three sides, then do like my curve top, and then this side, and then right click to close it. Whoopsie, it's not perfect. I needed to hold my Alt key down as I was doing that. But if I have my shape here, and let me go and zoom in so it's one big selected shape, and I put my motif around it, you'll see that it doesn't connect. And I can try finagling this and making it, work and adjusting it, but it's hard work. So what to do as opposed to trying to make it be a closed shape? First of all, let's open our shape. So I'm going to click this node here, right here at the top, and I'm going to click on the open button so that it opens this shape. That means, that I can actually separate these guys. Okay, so first of all, it's an open shape. And if I notice, these two square sides look pretty darn good. They're exactly the way I want to. So if I were to select this node here, right click on it and say break at the point, first of all, it gets rid of all my motifs, but it creates two objects here. So one at the top and one at the bottom. If I select this one and make this into a motif run, looks perfect. If I click on this guy and make this into a motif run, not so perfect. But I can just select my nodes and I can move them so that they become more perfect the way I really want them to be, and then move them onto, see, I can overlap them a little bit. Oh, I didn't make this very round. Let's see. How's that? And just take this and move it down so that it works. Now, of course, if you're working on a graphic that's a specific shape, you may have to do a lot more adjustments, but most likely you're going to have to create multiple shapes here, okay? Because that's the software doesn't care that it's one object. It has one object that has my start and my stop. It's going to stop stitching here, and then it's going to have the next motif that's going to create next to it. It's going to stitch out all at once. It's one color, so when you run your stitch simulator, let's go here and run stitch simulator, run it. It's just going to stitch perfectly fine. Never even knew that you had two objects there. Sewing machine could care less. But it's now a complete object as opposed to what it was stitching before. Now the beads, on the other hand, let's go and move over to, let me just go to another design page here. Beads, let's see, draw with points. Just do some random clicks here to create our string of pearls. Right click to end, and I'm going to put the motif on it. Now, this is my French knot, candle wicks, whatever it is that you want to have. It's an open shape because I didn't close it yet. And if you can see, there is a gap here. If I go and close my shape, it actually closed it for me. Oh, let's see. Hold on. I got to make it. I have to do what that was just pure dumb luck that worked that way. Because as you are noticing here, see, there's a little, whoopsie, a little gap in between these two. When you click off of it, there's no thread connecting them. Because the first one, for some reason, it did have it before. But if you can't adjust it out of the way, you're going to have to figure out a way to make it have some sort of a line there so that it's all connected. And this works with either French knots or if you have candle wicks. Well, these two are too close together, so we'd be adjusting those anyway. Let's go and see, maybe make these a little smaller. There you go. You see, there's a gap. Okay, these are the French knots. How do you make that gap go away? Well, if we opened this shape up, it's not going to add a line in there. So that's not going to solve this problem. But we can solve it by using or adding a manual stitch. And a manual stitch is the little pencil here. So first of all, I want to click off of this so it's nothing selected. And I'm going to choose draw with points. And you can't see what you're working on yet, so it's going to take some finagling here. I'm going to click on the manual stitch, and I'm going to go left click, right click to end, and whoops, I put it in the wrong spot. You can see I actually created a manual stitch. So now one need to do is move that in so that it actually connects. And you'll see I have my French knots here, my manual stitch here. One thing I will want to do with that manual stitch is at the bow tie, make sure it says tie at the exit. It does because I was practicing this before. But normally it wouldn't say anything because you want to make sure it's going to put a tie naturally at the French knots, but at that manual stitch, it's just going to basically do a single stitch, just like the single stitches in between here. So it makes the illusion of your string of pearls that you're working on. So anyway, I thought I would just pop in and talk about a few of those things, working with motifs, making sure that you actually have 2 objects or 3 objects, depending if you have a funky shape, each line, each side of your shape could be a drawn object. There's nothing wrong with that. The machine's going to stitch them out all at one time. So that's just the key point to getting your motifs to fit. And the same thing, and the thing with the string of pearls here with either the French knots or the candle wicks is using or adding this is set to a run stitch. If you have a run stitch isn't the way you want to do it. You want to do a manual stitch. Not sure why I got switched to a run. Manual stitch is because it's only going to be 1 stitch. Boom, boom. Could you do a run? Sure, but why? Then you have to set. This is just putting the needle down, making 1 more stitch in there. And that's the way it should be. Anyway, hope that helps, guys. Bye.